So here we are for the webinar and the introduction to the series on emotional intelligence. Akilena?
Yes, hello. I'm Dr. Akilena. I'm a DVM, veterinary, doctor of veterinary medicine. I work in research as a research scientist and director of microsurgery lab at Columbia Presbyterian, New York, in the Department of Orthopedics. I am also a life coach. And here I am with Dr. Justin James Kennedy, who has 2 PhD in behavioral psychology, and he is a neuroscientist. He's working in 2 universities around the world. He is a great professional and executive coach and author on a great book. And here we are presenting a new course for you guys. And here you go, Justin. We'll take it away.
Thank you, Yelena. Julian and Dariela, thank you for hosting this. I hope we don't let you down, and I hope we have some fun with all the people on the course, because emotional intelligence is obviously partly about having fun and enjoying each other's time together. So, Yelena, tell us a joke. No, I'm only teasing. I'm only teasing. Everybody, we're going to do a couple of things in the agenda for today. The first one is going to give you a quick introduction, which we're busy doing. Then we're going to overview what secondary traumatic stress syndrome is and how it has an impact. Then we're going to do a quick test, which some of you have actually done already. Elena, is that right?
Yes, I'm actually would like to thank everybody who signed up and do
Yes.
Very nice. Thank you so much. Yeah, it shows that some of you are quite stressed out already. So we'll
exactly. Yeah. Then the fourth session, we're going to look at burnout, and then the last session is about EQ tools. But as Elena said, we're really grateful for you being here, because without your skills in medicine, the whole system falls down. So we're very grateful for you and your expertise in helping people during this pandemic. So we're hoping to give back to you today to say thank you for all the good work and the hard work, and also the position that you're putting yourself into a state of vulnerability medically. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts, and we hope that you enjoy this little webinar gift from us, and we hope it will be something that will be useful for you in the future. So Elena, with that said, I'm just going to quickly give an overview of what STS is. It's a response to a specific type of stressor from exposure to traumatic event victims. So what this basically means, STS is a symptom of burnout when you experience other people who have had a traumatic event. So it's pretty sincere. The DSM listed as a traumatic condition, and as we've seen from the research, that if we help medical professionals to build awareness to that stress from using the tools from emotional intelligence, they can recover, they can become resilient, they can beat their burnout, and they can, in general, flourish. So that is the hope that we will expose you to from the tools today. Elena, does that sound about right?
Yeah, I was about to say, in this situation, that seems like a great mechanism and a coping tools to help. I work in a hospital myself and live in New York, as everybody knows, it's a war zone. So it's really, and I have friends who've been working as doctors, as nurses, and other health professionals. It's really important, and some of them just don't know what to do. So I think it's a really great tool to do it now and help them to realize what they can do themselves, without help, to help themselves to be saving people's lives. Thank you, Justin, for that.
I think you've hit on a really good point, Elena. It's when you have this emotional response, feeling not knowing not what to do, not knowing how to cope, it is the beginning of dis-ease, which can easily lead into psychological emotional disease. So the hope from this presentation is to give medical professionals who are on the call some insight on how that they can train their brain to change their mind, to heal their heart, so that they feel good at the start of every time they're on call.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
must remember that, Yelena. That sounded very cute.
Yes, you know what? I remember in the beginning we were thinking just a series of webinars and just give the people information. But now thinking about it, we're going to decide to do a course and teach you guys
That's a good idea.
what it is emotional intelligence, what the tools, what's the components, how to deal with it, and to really learn, because this is very important. It's very important for everybody. But let's move.
So yeah, so what we'll do today, we'll overview the tools, we'll give them some insight. If we've got enough time at the end, we can do a guided mindful meditation if we have a couple of minutes left. But let's go on to the stress test, the Neuro-Cardiac test. What? Tell me.
Guys, I just want to say to everybody, so if you have any questions to us, please, there is a chat room, so please chat, just take any question, type any questions. If we have time, we will have time to answer them. So we'll mute you all, but please type everything you come in mind and we will answer it later on.
Okay, so maybe let's ask everybody a question. They can help us see that their chat box typing skills. So the first question, which I love to ask, is write your answer into the chat box. What is the difference between an emotion and a feeling? And you can't say the spelling because that doesn't count. So in your opinion, what is the difference between an emotion and a feeling? If you read my book, you would have an opinion on this, but it wouldn't be your opinion. So I want to hear your opinion. Elena, I can't see the chat. Can you see it?
Yes, I could see the chat.
Okay, great. So you can just manage the chats because I don't know how to see it from here. Okay. Okay, great.
Yeah, guys, just really quickly, if you understand what do you think the difference between emotions and feelings? It took me a while to figure it out. I thought it's kind of one of the same things, but it's not. We can move on and see what they say so far.
We will come back to this. This is a nice way to get their brains thinking and to get them to be with us. So what we're going to do now, we're going to go through the Neuro-Cardiac test that was initially published out of a Danish university and then in several journals. And what we've done with this test, we've made it a little bit more relevant to you. So in the next moment, I want you to answer these questions with a true or a false. Just simply get in your mind or on a piece of paper how many truths and how many falses out of the 5 questions. Okay, so it shouldn't take you very long. It's a really quick test. So simply get a pen and mark true or false from 1 to 5, and then we will go to the second half of the test. Are you ready? Okay, here we go. So the Neuro-Cardiac test looks at number 1, is this true or false? Small talk is stressful for me. Number 2, I don't like speaking to people I don't know, true or false. Number 3, I'm not happy when I need to make small talk, true or false. Number 4, I prefer my own privacy over social events, true or false. And number 5, if I meet new people, I often don't know what to say. So just keep a total of how many truths and how many falses you got, all right? And then the second 5 are people say, I worry too much about little things, true or false. I frequently feel unhappy, true or false. Number 3, things stress me out too quickly. And number 4, most of the time, others feel overly optimistic, true or false. And the last question is, others seem to be much happier than me in general. So at the moment, you should have 10 letters. You should have some false and some true. What we'll do in the next seminar, when we go through it, we'll give you more insight into what kind of personality profile you have specifically based on these 10 questions, which the research actually shows that if you get a certain score, you actually show vulnerability for cardiac disease. So let's hope there's no cardiologists on the call, Yelena. So if you got mainly falses, there is some likelihood of your vulnerability. But we won't do that now. We'll never get out of the test phase. But Just be aware, mainly falses. There's a concern, hopefully more true than false. So Elena, is that okay? Can we carry on?
Yeah, I was just one quick
Yes.
remark. You think so? Considering the situation, do you think their responses will change? So, for example, you know, people mentality or their emotions changing with the situation.
That's a very good question, Elena. Emotional intelligence toolkit shows that people are resilient in times of stress. So even though you might be having an acute traumatic experience, of course you're going to have a heightened level of stress when you're jumping out of a building and it's on fire. But as we know, this pandemic's going to be a marathon, not a sprint. So as a result, if people aren't learning how to sustain a state of resilience and well-being, that's a concern for them. So acute stress is fine, chronic stress is a concern, and emotional intelligence, the tools related, give people a way to be resilient to those states of chronic stress. Elena?
Yeah, because I'm looking at the questions and related to myself, and it's changing. So some like 2 months ago, before it all started, I would answer completely different. So some of them, and some of them, I'm trying very hard myself to keep the same. But what I'm saying, with situation like that, who we had no idea we're gonna come into, so the people are changing their responses.
Remember, this is a toolkit. It's not a copy and paste. Now I'm fine. What are you struggling with, Elena? What number is popping for you?
Well, like number 4 on emotional questions.
Yeah.
Most of the time. Yeah, well, yeah, I'm changing that.
So you're feeling that other people are more optimistic or too optimistic.
Yeah, that's
and you feel that other people weren't overly optimistic before and now they are.
Well, for me, yeah, I'm actually changing that view also. So I'm trying to, trying to see that, and it's not really happening. So number 5 too. I mean, it's just what I was trying to do is just saying that it is maybe not truly you for our students, for our listeners. You changing because of the situation. So emotions and feelings, right? Emotions create the feelings, so they are changing. We can move on, but the idea.
No, this is a great point to just look at, because those people who are looking and made a note in the chat box, the difference between an emotion and a feeling is pretty clear. What happens on this test, we're looking at how you respond with a felt experience. So feelings are malleable, and if you feel that people are being overly optimistic, you can decide, is that a useful feeling or is that something I need to address? And maybe people are being overly optimistic and then you don't need to address it. But if people are feeling much happier than you and you want to feel happier, then that's something you can address.
Yeah, Annabella is telling us that an emotions linked with experience and feelings linked with a physical sensation. What do you think?
What do you think, Elena?
Yeah, I think the situation can create emotion.
Yeah, I think
like fear.
From my research, the brain is basically it's like a digital. It's either on or off. It's either fear on or fear off. And if you have the emotion of fear, you then have a floodgate of negative feelings, from being sad to being bad to feeling whatever, feeling depressed or anxious. If you have that digital switch of fear off, you're then in a place of well-being or control, and then you can feel happy, you can feel delighted, you can feel joy. So in my theory from the book is that emotion on equals fear leads to feeling bad. If that switch is off, you feel in control, you feel in a state of well-being, which leads or can lead into feeling happy, joyful, content, in control, etc. So I hope that helps people on the call. Let's get cracking, Elena. It's already quarter past. We're running out of time. How much time do we have for the call, Elena?
I think we stand up for an hour, so we're good.
Okay, let's see how we do. So we've been speaking about how emotional intelligence can help you bounce back. And I wrote here how it can help you bounce quick and easy. And it's not quick and it's not easy, but at the same time it is. So once you have these tools, you can bounce back quick and easy. And you can be a star by learning how to survive, how to thrive, how to adapt, and how to recover better. What do you think, Elena?
Yeah, it's all great points, but well, looking at this, I would shuffle it a little bit different. Instead of the star, I might do it as a start. So we can maybe survival mode go, then after that we'll be adapting. And for the survival mode, create like a kind of a thread, right? That will give you there's some tools to adapt and to recover and to thrive. What do you think?
I think that makes a lot of sense. Just quickly, just change the slide on your side, because I think it'll be more of how you can start with us, how you can go from being in survival mode and then to adapting to the stress triggers in your environment, then knowing, okay, great. So then knowing how you can recover, and then how you can find a state of thriving, even under a state of distress, because stress is basically excessive energy being demanded on us. And if you can control that, you can then find a sense of control. If that makes sense. So now we are going to move on, Elena. Let's look now at those tools for burnout. And in our research, we're seeing that emotional intelligence is a most effective toolbox to control unwanted states of dis-ease, like burnout, by helping you build an understanding of yourself and the self-awareness, showing you how to regulate that emotional state, how to be motivated, how to have improved social intelligence, and how you can also socially have more empathy for those who are in distress as well. So in terms of the model, I'm going to go into another slide, but is there anything we should just mention at this point while it's still pretty simple, Elena, or can I keep going?
You know what, a quick note for me. You know, in the beginning, I was also thought that burnout and stress is kind of related. So, but later on, like reading and talking to you, I actually realized that being stressed and being burned out are not completely the same. You can deal with stress and doesn't have a burnout. I think using emotional intelligence is also helping you to deal with stress and don't burn yourself out. Is it?
I mean, you need some stress to perform. You know, if you're writing an exam, or you're a racing car driver, or you're doing like an aeroplane, you need to be concentrating. You need to give that attention. So stress has two compartments. Eustress is useful stress. Distress is a state of disease, of dis-ease. So eustress is useful stress. Distress is chronic stress, which can lead into burnout, depression, anxiety disorders, insomnia, the list goes on. And if that state of distress continues, one of the problems is burnout. And when you burn out, you really do collapse. And that is something that we hope that we can build the tools to keep our medical professionals resilient from this call, Elena.
Yes, let's keep going.
Okay, so the next slide is a bit big. So what I've done here, I've put like 6 bubbles or 6 circles, which look at emotions, behavior, and performance or work. So at an emotional level, we're looking at how to build your awareness. What is this feeling I'm having? Am I feeling mad? Am I feeling bad? Am I feeling sad? Am I feeling glad? What's going on? And stress is normally linked to a feeling of not being in control. So if you don't feel in control, you feel a bit unhappy. So the skills around emotional intelligence will help you label those states so that you can do something about them. Because if you can't label them, then you can't do anything with them. If you haven't got a good diagnostic tool, you can't really prescribe a treatment protocol. So the same with your social awareness, Helena. I remember when I did my TED talk, I was so stressed, but I spent a lot of time containing that stress. So by the time I did it, you wouldn't think I was stressed, even though before the presentation, I really had to find my inner zen, which was hard work, but you know, I did it okay. So emotional control comes first from awareness. And secondly is when those feelings emerge, it's about choosing the behavior. And I think this is a key point, that people think that emotional intelligence is all a psychological experience. But as a behavioral neuroscientist, I'm more into the Pavlovian model of it being, if you change the behavior, you change the state. And if you want to manage your emotional well-being, you can change your behaviors, your physical, your psychological, your emotional, or your social behaviors. And when you do those changes and you know what tools to apply, Elena and everyone else, you then get a felt experience of benefit or control. And when that happens, you feel better. You feel, you know, you've got this. And then when you have the sense of well-being, it impacts directly on your ability to focus, on the ability of your prefrontal cortex to problem solve more effectively. And it also makes you a better team player because you're more interested in working with people. You're more available to collaborate. And also others are more interested in collaborating with you because you're not sending out these stress symptoms, which reminds me of a model around mirror neuron theory, which explains that if you are sending out a stressful state of being, it's picked up unconsciously by other people, even before they process it consciously. And that builds a little mini culture of stress, which isn't very useful. But if you're in a good place, that causes people to observe those unconsciously, and it builds a happy mini culture as well. So
Yeah,
I'm rambling on a bit, Elena, is that okay?
yeah, I think it's all on like on an energy level, right? So
exactly. I mean, energy is
people can
the
feel
exact
your
word. I
energy.
mean, yeah, we're not going to go and go onto a shaman experience and find our inner energy. But on the other level, it is about managing the output of neurological energy because, you know, the more work your brain does in the amygdala, that is expensive energetically to the brain, and that causes burnout if it's sustained for too long.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a very good point around energy. I love that. Thank you. So in terms of the process for the healthcare professionals, what we've put together is we've put together a workbook to guide people through the skills so they can take these tools away and they can apply them. So we're going to give people exercises and opportunities to experiment to find what tools work for them. So I think the key part of the seminar is not going to be so much jibber jabber from me or from you, Yelena, but it's going to be more about activity-based experiential learning, where people can say, okay, let me experiment with this tool. Let me see if I can apply this dialogue to change my inner self-talk or even my social experience. So that's the reference to the workbook. I think in relationship to the workbook, we're all going to give the people a pack of cards which they can have in their pocket, and they can then understand the aspects of the learning, and they can just have reminders if they need be. Also, what these are very useful for is for showing others. And Yelena, I often believe teaching is the best way to learn. And by us working through this, I've really had an opportunity to clean up my own opinion around emotional intelligence. And I hope that the design of this course with you will be very relevant to healthcare professionals, just like you are working within Columbia University.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we have to, I'm learning as myself doing this work as well. So you do one, you learn one, you teach one. So,
what's that great? There's that great quote. It's probably like Einstein or someone very intelligent, who said, "The more I learn, the less I know."
Exactly. Yeah. That's how I feel now. This is like a tip of the iceberg we are touching, because it's so much to learn, and it's so interesting because it's applicable to us, to you, to your relationship, to your coworkers, to your kids, to all life around us, to be able to learn and to understand what's going on inside you. Because I think what self-awareness is, it's the number one tool for me. I have to stop for a second and realize what's going on with me inside. What is it, emotions it's inside me that creates those feelings. And I think in the situation that it is now, sorry to interrupt you all of
No, please, I'm loving this.
Because this is important, how it affects you. So I'm talking about myself. I don't know how you guys feel, but educational part of that is very important, because if you learn to realize that, to self-aware to what is going on inside yourself, then you can control it, or try at least to control it. And when you go back to the big, bubble slide, so that will affect your relationship, not only with yourself, but with the others, especially now with this quarantine and isolation and everything, that everybody cramped, or you go to the hospital and you see the people are, so struggling and dying. And, so it's so much going on in your hand, on your heart and in your head. So it's hard to stop. So we're giving you the tool that actually was useful to me, to just realize what's going on. But again, it's so little we can talk about this with a few minutes, but it is really great that there is a tool that you can use. Sorry, I interrupted too much.
No, that's beautifully said. I mean, I was speaking to my daughter recently, and I said to her, "What did you learn at school?" And she just finished high school. She said, "Well, I learned a lot of stuff." And I said, that's not really what I was hoping it'd say. I hope you have a bit more content. But anyway, so we got a discussion, and we thought it'd be so intelligent if they spent a lot more time teaching a class around emotional intelligence at schools. Because if they did that, you would at least leave high school with a toolkit that you can apply to notice how you're feeling, to regulate that feeling, to make sure that you're functioning socially in a way that you're aware, and in a way that is having a healthy effect on your environment.
Absolutely.
So let's bring everybody into our emotional intelligence school, Yelena.
Yeah, I have the same conversation real quick with my daughter, who is 26, and she said the same thing. She learned emotional intelligence tools, and now she completely changed her way around people and herself, and feel much more better and control and comfortable, just living and be more happy as the kid.
Yeah.
Well, she's not a kid anymore, but young adults.
But it's a good opportunity just to quickly define what happiness is. So if you're in the mood and you want to type again, everybody, Sophia or Annabella, I saw your names on the list, or anybody, just give me a definition, give us all a definition in the chat room of what is happiness. And as you are typing, I'm going to tell a quick story, Elena. Is that okay?
Yeah, of course.
So I was on the beach one day, and I walking along, and the next minute a Buddhist monk, I kid you not, a Buddhist monk came up to me and said, "Would you mind taking a photograph of me?" So I said, "No, who do you think you are?" "No, obviously not." I said, "Of course, you'll take a photograph." So I took a photograph of this monk with the beautiful beach and the sunset behind him. And not often you bump into a Buddhist monk on the beach in his full outfit. So I said to him, what are you doing here? So we started chatting, and we're still friends today. And by the end of the conversation, we were speaking about what is happiness. And at the time, I thought happiness was joy. It was like that birthday party feeling. And he explained to me that happiness is, in his opinion, a quiet sense of well-being. Happy isn't happy joy, but happiness is a sense of well-being. And as a result, I think that is a key point in the course, Helena, about helping people find true happiness in a way that can be sustained. If that is a useful story, Helena.
Yeah, it is. Especially from the monk. Well, the people are putting here, Annabella, thank you, very active. She said fulfillment feeling.
Oh, wonderful.
Fulfilled. Yeah, and
that's
Sophia
beautiful.
said happiness is being free. Well, there is how many people we have, to how many definitions we're going to have. Everybody.
Well, I think fulfillment and freedom are all very linked. In my belief, Elena, and everybody, I believe that happiness is a sense of control. If you feel in control, you have a sense of well-being. You can then feel joy, or you can feel delighted, but you feel like you've got the steering wheel on life. You feel like you've got the controls, rather than someone else throwing tsunamis or pandemics at you. So
yeah, absolutely.
That's my thinking. Anyway, let me keep going. I know we've got time limits here. So the next slide is a much more robust emotional intelligence test, which you won't have to go through now. And I think we'll have time. But what we can do is we can give it to the people that sign up on the seminar for them to complete for the next seminar, so that we can have pretty much a thorough, intelligent, facilitated program. So for the first question, for example, I do not become defensive when criticized. So Elena, when you just play with me for a second, if you had to answer the first question, I do not become defensive when criticized, would you strongly disagree, strongly agree, or where would you put yourself?
I would disagree. I do have that defensiveness inside me when I criticize. The first thing my intention will be, "What, are you kidding me?"
So ask me the next one. Ask me the next one.
I can stay calm under pressure.
So hard to answer because everyone thinks I've got to be all emotionally intelligent, but under pressure, I find that my anger explodes. My father was a real Hemingway kind of character, so I feel those genetic symptoms respond. So under pressure, the first thing I have is this overwhelming flood of feeling angry, and then when I catch it, then I can stay calm under pressure. So I suppose I'm cheating with the answer. My answer is, first, I feel completely out of control, but then I catch myself and I feel in control. So what score will you give me? I stay calm under pressure? I think the answer is I stay calm under pressure. So I feel out of control, but I stay calm because I've used these tools to...
agree. So good.
Yeah,
so you agree.
I'm going for strongly agree because I can stay calm. I don't feel calm initially, but I can stay calm. Will you let me take strongly agree?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. Okay, so the next ones we'll leave it. We'll go through those with the people in the first seminar. So on the next page, I've just quickly highlighted what people are going to get for us helping healthcare professionals in this crisis. We're going to give them the handbook so they can learn more about emotional intelligence and the theories and the models. We're going to give them the slides from today and from each seminar so that they can reference them along with the recordings. And we'll also give them a workbook to go through the process so that they can have a felt experience during the seminars, not so pedagogic with us teaching, but more experiential. And also what I think will be useful is for us to make sure that the tests are done as a pre and post,
Yes,
Elena.
absolutely. Yes.
So we can compare. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. So, I would even take the test and see what's the difference even teaching this. Yeah, it's important. Yes, we can do different self-assessment tests before and after. So you can guys see what's the difference it makes, and if hopefully it does. It's very sorry.
Carry on.
No, I think so. Even for doctors, especially for doctors, they need to see the progress, right? So you had these problems before, or sometimes you don't even realize you have problems, or you denial you have problems. Being a doctor, I'm teaching surgeons for more than 25 years. I know a little bit more of psychology of the doctors, and there is a stigma mind, and it's not good or bad. This is it. So for them this is why it's good to have self-tests for yourself. Be honest with yourself without even maybe discussing with the professors, just to see where you are at, honestly with yourself, and see how you progress through the course when you learn stuff and you practice that and we discuss it. And then at the end of the course, you can do this again and see if there is any difference in what it makes. Because it is important to learn and to practice it on yourself tomorrow, to everyday thing when the stuff going on.
I think that's a great idea. Maybe what we should do, if we're doing a pre and post, we should do a little study and publish the results. Anyway, I'm not tricking you into doing a protocol with me, Elena, but you never know. Maybe it's something we can research into the future. So on the next slide, where am I now? On the next slide, I listed the various seminars in the online course. Should I speak through these, or do you want to speak them, or what should we do here?
Well, I think we probably already spoke to most of it. So what we're trying to offer here, this webinar is introduction. So we've created online course, the EQ tools for MDs. And this is why the topics of each of the webinars, kind of a question that we can answer you and you can answer yourself. And to get an answer, to have an answer to these questions, hopefully will be at the end of each of the webinars. So how well do you, this is what I was talking about 5 seconds ago, about the self-awareness. All of these topics are a system. So they are part of the emotional intelligence, and they are tools. You need to go one by one to realize what it is you're feeling, how do you cope with this, how to react with other people, how to manage your relationships, not with your friends, with your parents, with your kids, with your loved ones at work. So there is a lot of things that your tool, the tools that we try to give you will help you with. Are you happy? So at the end, so this bonus session, I was like, should we do this every time? Because people need to realize that they are happy inside. They could be happy. So even the little happy bonus can be under each of the session. Just see that you actually learned something, that you actually did a little more, you know a little more, you feel a little more after each of these webinars. And maybe in the future, we can say, well, now is a difficult time for everybody, financially, and the other street. So if that puts an extra stress, so we can.
That's a very good point. Yeah.
Because this, that's going on in the world, we never know. So uncertainty, the fears, and financial crisis could be affecting everybody. But we will try. So we can talk about another hour about this. But what I was trying to say is that each of the session could be kind of tangled into each other. So without the first one, it will be very hard to understand the second one or the third one. So what we were thinking about to offer like one by one, but it doesn't really make sense You need to understand the whole concept of EQ and learn from the beginning to have a result. But did I just...
there's 6 sessions and there's like 6 compartments. So the first is emotional and social awareness. Then it's emotional and social regulation. And then it's emotional and social performance or function or direction. So in the first phase, it's about taking notice. It's about becoming aware of what is actually going on with me. A lot of people are struggling with insomnia, with nutrition or with exercise-related concerns, or just feeling, anxious or even depressed. So I'd really like everyone on the call to think about what they would like to change. I mean, maybe even drop in the chat box so we can then design the first seminar around those needs. So what is going on for you? Is it your sleep? Is it your nutrition? Is it your emotional well-being? Is it your physical activity or physical well-being? Maybe your back or another part of your body that's causing a state of distress. Are you feeling socially struggling with your family, with your colleagues, or just not being able to see your friends? Or are you just lacking that sense of joie de vivre? Julien, I hope you appreciate my attempt to say something in French. But but it's an attempt to just feel a sense of happiness, a sense of feeling at one and feeling a sense of well-being. So if people are making notes in the chat, what they really need the process to focus on for them, we can then use that to tailor the first session, if you like. Julien, joie de vivre, monsieur.
Thank you, sir. Very much appreciated.
How are we doing for time, Julien?
You're doing great.
Okay, great. So that's the structure. We're going to look at how self-aware you are of emotions, how you can control them in the second session, how your awareness is of when you react to people, how you can regulate those relations and direct them. In the fifth session, how you can find that state of flourishing and happiness at work and or in general. And then the bonus session will look at what are those triggers? What can we do specifically to edit them? And maybe there's an opportunity to offer some coaching for people who are in an acute state at the moment, Elena. So
yeah,
part of the course.
1 second. Yes, she said, can we see all of those? Julie said, yes, absolutely. I think
exactly.
I think the feeling of control of whatever it is, emotions, feelings, actions, and it makes you feel comfortable. And that's where you're coming from, the happiness as well, right? Does it make sense?
Yeah. I mean, I think this process is experiential. It's a learning by doing thing. But there is an online certificate for the process from the University of Columbia. Thank you, Yelena. I'm teasing. It's not from Columbia. We'll get sued. But there is a certificate that you can use for your records, if you like. But other than the certificate, we really want to make sure that you can stay afloat. And we hope that your exhaustion while you're doing the wonderful work to keep us all safe is really appreciated. And from the randomized studies we've looked at and we've been involved in, that coaching for physicians has really shown a benefit. So those of you who need any emergency or acute support, we can help you and we can offer you some support. So don't feel you have to wait until the first session. We are here to give you the free tools in the short term before the webinar starts. We will help you analyze speech and body language and facial recognition as part of the tools. We'll help you change your behavior so that you can stay in a sense of well-being. And we'll even include a guided meditation. Maybe we'll have time at the end of this course to actually give people an opportunity to have a felt sense of well-being from a guided mindful session. But we'll see how the time allows. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
meditation is very good.
Maybe we can do that still now. We'll see how much time. I think the slide, the last point I want to say, it's really about taking action. It's not about, simply meditating your problems away. It's about doing things in a way that give you that sense of control so that you feel emotionally intelligent and you feel socially more effective. I think those are the two things. Elena, anything else? I think that's where we've come to the end. Are there any other thoughts that are coming up for you?
No, I think we covered the basic idea for the tools for EQ. And I'd like to thank you all. And well, we have this, you can always contact us through Dr. Candy email, and we would love to hear from you. But it was, I think it was covered. I mean, we can talk for hours about that, but we want to make it fun. If there is, it's not only didactic. So it's not like we're teaching you and listening, you're reading something. There is all, we would like to do this as interactive as possible. So we can leave a time for asking live questions or just talking to directly and see, or making the self-awareness quizzes and tests and games. So it will be fun to learn that way. I think you learn better if you.
Often what works well on this online course, Elena, is if we have breakout groups where we have 2 or 3 people discussing a certain topic and coming back to the main group to share what they learned in their little breakout group. And, Zoom works really well for that. And if any of you have any immediate questions, please contact Sally and we can set up some time. But also just send us some questions, some thoughts. In fact, I often like to say to people at this point in the program, what is the most wonderful result you would like to get from this course in emotional intelligence? What is the most amazing result you'd like to get from it? Those of you who want to win the lottery, well, it's not really the right course to be doing, but you will feel a sense of well-being, just like you would when you win the lottery. If that's a good reference, Elena. What else do we have to cover? Have we covered everything else?
No, I think we covered pretty much. Annabella wants to play puzzles and avoid conflict. So, I mean, this is, you can play, that's a lot of topics. I think everybody will have a list. Annabella, we will teach you how to play puzzles, how to avoid conflicts. It's all within you, as everybody said. But there is a tool that we can actually give you. So they're in you, but it's good to learn.
There's a great tool we must show them in the first session, even though it's not the first session, but it's a tool on how to get people to agree with you. Once you're in a state of well-being and you're not freaking out, how to get people to agree with you. But anyway, we can play with that down the road. Yeah, Julian, Dariella, anything else we must discuss? Just let's check in there with you guys.
Well, fair enough on my side. I think I would have plenty of questions, so I'd be delighted to participate in the upcoming ones to start getting some answers.
Okay.
And I feel a little worried about the test, because I am in the side of vulnerability. So maybe I was too tough on myself when I did the test, but that's interesting.
This is a great point. Let me quickly jump on this. And vulnerability is a very important state, because if you can maintain a state of vulnerability and a state of emotional well-being, you are very resilient. If you can show up socially as vulnerable at the same time being emotionally contained, it's very difficult not to like you. It's very difficult not to feel connected and not to respect that person. So vulnerability is your secret weapon, Julian. Don't lose it.
I also think to be honest and genuine is very important, and people are feeling. So it's okay to feel what you feel and just be honest and genuine with it. And just learn or ask for help. It's a great, it's not to be scared about that. Sophia would like to learn about mindfulness, of course. Yeah, that's a big part of the course.
It is. I mean, I think in the first session we must give those tools out directly. We can even have 5 minutes now, but we might run on time, and we've got 5 minutes left. Yeah, it's been a great conversation. I hope everybody has found it useful.
So what we can also do, after we put the last slide on, we can, if you have, because you're all muted, you can raise your hand, right? If there is something that you can, on reaction, underneath of your thing, you can put it up and raise the hand, and we can unmute you, and you can ask questions live. If you want to do that, we have a few more minutes.
Julien just raised his hand. I don't know if that was a demonstration or that was another question.
It was just my thumbs up.
For the idea. So your thumbs up for the idea of putting your hands up. I love it. Dariela, are you asking a question or are you just agreeing?
No, sorry, it was a thumbs up as well.
Okay, well, now you have to ask a question. You can't escape.
Well, no, as Julian said, I would be very keen to see what's up next for the next webinars, because I'm not a doctor, I'm not a medical practitioner, but I think this is a situation that it's knocking on the door on every people's head, So yeah, I think it's very useful, and I'm keen to see what's coming up next.
Okay, well, I know you're not a healthcare professional, but if you ask nicely, we'll let you join the group, okay?
Well, Julie just said that she's an occupational therapist in mental health. It's going to be very useful for myself and also for my clients. So some of them are healthcare professionals. Being able to help with emotional intelligence will be amazing. Thank you so much, Julie. It will be very nice if you and your clients will join us for the course.
Yeah, I think it'll be a wonderful skill for her to apply into her OT practice. I've got such a respect for the OT environment, especially after my subdural hemorrhage. And the OT environment is so much linked to emotional well-being. So I think it would be wonderful to share those tools with her so that Julian can also use them, if that sounds like a good opportunity for you. Any other thoughts or questions, Elena? Anyone else popping?
So how do we run this course? Do we have that slide for people to see?
Yeah, sure. So is this the slide you're looking at?
Yes.
Okay, so should I talk it through?
Yeah, I think it will be nice if we can quickly go over.
Okay, so the webinar is going to start on the 2nd of May. And we're going to give everyone in the group the free set of workbooks and slides and handbooks and recordings, tests, but also some guided meditation sessions which are very useful and people can use on their own, which is often very valuable. For the 6 seminars, we were proposing an amount of $499 or $500, which is 83 per session. But if people register before the end of the week, the price comes down quite a lot by over $100, and then we can offer that for $64 per seminar. So yeah, we're really trying to help and keep the price rock bottom, guys. So we really would like to help you. And if there's any need for financial support, we're not going to be unavailable for those discussions. So we're here to help, and hopefully we can make this available to other groups as well. But let's start off with everybody here, and let's see what the feedback is, Elena.
Yeah, you can share this information with everybody, who even health professionals. We designed that for that, but if anybody needs help, and we will you have all of these materials, and the webinars are going to be recorded, and so people who signed up, and I hope this, Julian, we will record this one as well. So it will be available for people to listen, to understand what we're doing. And each seminars will be recorded as well. So people, whoever signed up for the course, can listen to their own time. So you don't have to be online with us. You can do that on your own time. And then, so you can participate at the next one. You don't have to be, because of the time difference and the work schedule, it's hard to be, you know, we try to do it on the Saturdays in the morning, but everybody from all over the world, and I can see my students there saying hello from different parts, and it's really, really nice to me to see you guys. Thank you for joining us. But please, any questions, you can contact us, you contact Julian, and the sessions will be recorded, and it will be, thank you very much, and it will be posted somewhere, and that you will be able to see it.
Dariela, does everybody know how to get hold of you or Invervex so that they can register for the course? Is that information easily available?
Yes, so I will send, we will send, they will receive an email from Invivox with the link of the replay. Okay. And once the series of webinars will be published, they will receive also an email with the link for registration. And I'd just like to say that if they don't see it in their inbox within a day, well, the replay at least, they could check their spam folder, because sometimes the emails can go there. Okay. Otherwise, they can always contact me, or they can always contact me, and they have the contact of Invivox. Or like all attendees, they will have the contact of Invivox once they receive the email with the replay.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thanks for setting this up, Dariela. Julian, thanks so much for hosting this. It was a wonderful opportunity. You know, thanks for pulling us all together. It was good orchestration. Thank you so much.
That's really great. Does anybody have any questions? Should we unmute somebody? And if you want to talk to us, it'll be great. Because we have this hello from Clara from Switzerland. Hello from Spain. That's very nice. Where's from Spain? So Paris. Yeah, there is Quebec. Julie. Yeah, this is great. I mean, yeah. Athena from Spain. Yeah, well, I mean, there is a lot of questions from India, from Bordeaux. That's great. Namaste. Namaste as well. So we're gonna wrap it up. If there is no questions, you can also find us and ask us questions privately. Julian, is there anything else we can address?
No, I think this is it. We're just looking forward to the next workshop, to the next webinar.
Okay. Yeah, us too. Thank you guys, everybody, for joining. Thank you, Justin, very much. Julian, Dariela, for hard work to putting this all together.
Thank you. And if anybody needs immediate support, you've got the email, you've got Dariela. We're looking forward to helping you. But more importantly, we also hope to see you on the first seminar. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a good day and stay safe.
Stay safe. Thank you for your hard work. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
We can stay on.
Yeah, we can stay on. We can stay just a few minutes just to wrap up everything.
I'm still here. Yeah.
Yeah, good. Justin, did you leave?
No, he's on mute, I think. He's there. We can activate him though. Yeah.
Don't leave yet.
Yeah, there we go. I found it. Let me stop the video. There we go. So how did that go, Julian? What do you think?
Well, I think that was very clear. That was interesting. I mean, I found it interesting for myself, at least. Yeah.
Wonderful.
I think that the duo works very well. I think it's very pleasant. I like the two of you. you're not interrupting yourself. You're bringing some additional value. So it's a very pleasant duo that you're doing, and I think it's really nice, because then in this case it's not only one person that is kind of like teaching the others. It is one that is kind of bringing something, and the other one that is bouncing on it. So no, I really liked it.
Yeah, I think that the duo is mainly Yelena. So thank you for being the best part of the duo, Yelena.
I think
it's true.
I like it too. It's a little different.
It felt very easy. It felt very easy, Yelena. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, me too. It was a lot of fun. And I think we're not really staged much. We didn't really practice. We practiced a little bit, but it came out naturally. It's I think people liked it. We'll see what happened.
Yeah,
I mean, let's see how many people join up.
So we had like 22 people max, right? Between this is all of us, with all of us, right?
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
I think at some point,
in total it's 17. You know, this is usually the dropout rate that we have when people register for a webinar that is free of charge. We usually lose 50% of the people.
Correct.
So we had 32 who did register, and at the end of the day, we got 17 online, which is like standard.
Exactly half. It's exactly half.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. I mean, this is fine. We kind of as expected that. So
the good thing is that they will receive the replay.